Hey everybody, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for tuning into this webinar. This is our monthly free. Free is the word complimentary. Free is a complimentary is a $5 word for free. So this is the monthly complimentary Knebl LinkedIn training webinar, and I do these every month. Used to do them many years ago, then fell out of the habit, and then recently got back into the habit. So we're recording. This will be recorded. It's being recorded as we speak. It will end up on my YouTube channel, and because we're going to share a lot of information tonight, and some of it you may get, some of it I may move through pretty quickly, so you might want to go back and watch it again, or maybe not. I don't know. So we're going to jump into it. Now, in January, February, and March, we covered a number of different things on LinkedIn. And as some of you may know, I have recorded programs in excess of 10 hours in length on ways to use LinkedIn, using what I refer to as my principles, my strategies, and my routines. So there's certain ways that I use LinkedIn that have worked out very, very well for myself and for my clients over the years, have resulted in millions of dollars in revenue, both for myself and for my clients. And so these things work. They work very, very well. And I think part of the reason why they work so well is that unlike most people who are kind of known in the social media world, most people in social media come from marketing backgrounds. And I am in no way putting down anybody with a marketing degree. But I don't come from marketing. I come from sales. And prior to that, I was a piano player in New York City. So I was a pianist who ended up marrying a woman who booked me to play piano at her wedding to another man that married to her for 21 years, 3 kids, one of each. Then got into sales in the early 90s, scared out of my mind, had some good mentors that taught me that long-term success in business and sales really comes down to the ability to create, nurture, and deepen relationships. I studied that feverishly and became the top salesperson in the world for 4 different companies. And then just through dumb luck, I got on LinkedIn within 60 days of the launch way back in 2003. So LinkedIn launched on Cinco de Mayo, 2003. So in about a week and a half, LinkedIn is turning 13 years old. Is that crazy? 13 years old, that's nuts. So yeah, I've been using LinkedIn now for almost 13 years. So I've seen a lot of changes on the site over the years. And the benefit of that to you is that I can save you a lot of time because I've seen the evolution and I see how it continues to evolve. And I can keep you up to date with current information. So we're going to cover a lot of information here this evening in a relatively short amount of time. At the end, I'm going to make you aware of some of my continuing education materials. And then at the very end, when I turn off the recording, so for those of you listening to this recording a year from now, you're going to miss what's happening at the very, very end. Sorry, but at the very, very end, I'm going to turn off the recording and I'm going to make an extremely unique offer that I've never made before. So it's going to be fun. So let's talk about LinkedIn. The last 3 months, I picked a particular topic. If you remember in January, I talked about how to mine your connections to get warm introductions to your best prospects, referral sources, people like that. And then in February, I think I talked about using the advanced search features on LinkedIn, using saved searches, how to approach people in a way that's never slick, salesy, awkward, or creepy, how to create conversations. I think the last month I covered how to leverage LinkedIn status updates, and I talked about how to mine status update engagement, and I also talked about how to use share as image, which has since then been converted to getstencil.com, to create the kind of pictures that I create every morning and I put on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So I think that's what we covered. And if you want to see any of those replays, they should be on my YouTube channel. I think they're loaded by now. If not, please feel free to reach out to me. Tonight, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of bounce around a little bit. I'm not going to really focus just on one particular thing. I'm going to kind of bounce around and show you a number of different features that, in my experience, people have not really figured out how to leverage maybe to their utmost potential. So the first thing I want to talk about, and if anybody listening to me right now has 2 screens open and you have not already connected with me on LinkedIn, please feel free to send me a LinkedIn invitation right now, because there's only one sitting in my inbox, and I'm going to take the next couple of minutes and show you how I strategically accept LinkedIn invitations, which is pretty different than the way most people do it, okay? So I'm going to refresh my screen here, and if anybody has the ability, either on a cell phone or on a computer that's listening to me right now, to send me a LinkedIn invitation, please feel free to do so. So there's certain daily routines that I do on each of the 4 social media platforms that I currently participate on: LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So when I get up in the morning and I get on LinkedIn, the first thing I do every morning is I put my cursor over this tab right here called Pending Invitations to see if there are any invitations sitting in my inbox. And my goal is always to get this down to 0 on a daily basis to try to keep it from becoming unmanageable. Now, I speak in about a city a week somewhere around the world, and sometimes I'm on stages in front of hundreds, if not 1,000 people, and I tell everybody in the audience, send me a LinkedIn invitation. So when I say that to an audience of 500 people, you can imagine this gets a little bit thick, and it takes me a couple days to work my way through it. So right now we're at 1 pending invitation, which is great. So I want to show you how I accept LinkedIn invitations. Before I do that, let me just make a comment that if you've been on any of the previous monthly webinars, or if you've perhaps seen me on stage, or if you've ever worked with me privately, because I do work with a small number of people in a private coaching relationship, you've probably really heard me drill into how I keep things very, very simple. And one of the things that I keep simple for people is I am the guy that is constantly beating the drum that you and I are both in the same business. We're both, thank you, Peter Palermo, for just sending me the LinkedIn invitation. How did I know that? I'm psychic. I just saw it show up on my iPhone. And thank you also to Kenneth. So if I refresh my screen, I'll bet you all $1 that that number changes to 3. So I'm the guy, there we go, I'm the guy who is constantly talking about we're all in the conversation and relationship business. It's just that most people don't realize it. Well, I realize it deeply because I know once you get past your product knowledge or whatever it is that whatever business you're in, once you get past the technical aspect of that chosen profession, the sooner that you can realize that you are in the conversation and relationship business, the easier it's going to be for you to succeed long term. So what I do is everything I do is geared toward creating conversations. And really, if you get my newsletter, the title of my newsletter is The Art and Science of Creating, Nurturing, and Deepening Business Relationships. So that's really the business I'm in. I'm not in the LinkedIn business. I'm not even in the social media business, although a lot of people think I am. I personally don't think I am. I'm in the networking, I'm in the creation, and let me make it real simple. I'm in the conversation and relationship business. Whether I'm using LinkedIn, 2 cans in a string, sitting at a coffee table, whatever it is, I'm in the conversation and relationship business. So the first thing I do every morning is I minimize my LinkedIn screen and I go to my LinkedIn folder. And I go to my LinkedIn folder, and if you do not already have my LinkedIn profile optimization cheat sheet and my templates, please feel free to email me. Don't send me a message on LinkedIn. Send me an email, kevin@kevinknebl.com, and say, Kevin, could I please get a copy of your LinkedIn profile optimization cheat sheet, and could I please get your LinkedIn templates that you normally charge people $100 for? I would be happy to pay it forward to you and give it to you for free, okay? So first thing I do every morning, I go on LinkedIn, I put my cursor over this to see how many people have sent me LinkedIn invitations. I see there's 3. I do not use these features to accept or decline invitations. I click on Pending Invitations, and now I've got the 3 invitations in chronological order. So here I can see that Kenneth sent me a LinkedIn invitation 2 minutes ago. I can also see that Kenneth and I already have 11 people in common. If I were to click on these 3 dots, it would show me all 11 people. I can see that Peter sent me a LinkedIn invitation 2 minutes ago, and we have 4 people in common. And Eddie sent me an invitation 3 hours ago, and we have 28 people in common. So I'm a big believer that you should connect with almost everybody except for ex-spouses and direct competitors. So I do not click the accept button. I click on Kenneth's name, not Kenneth's, Kenneth's name, And I look at his LinkedIn profile, and I say to myself, you know what? Looks like a real life human being, does not look like an axe murderer or some weird stalker. And I check out his profile, and I always look for something personal, such as I always shoot down to the personal information because I'm looking for anything that we would have in common. Media productions, television, radio, TV news, meetup and networking session, 5K road races, weight training, Zumba class, father and son network groups. So see here where it says weight training? Watch what I'm going to do now. I click on accept invitation. We are now becoming first degree connections on LinkedIn. And what most people do at this point is they just go on with their life. But I know that I'm in the conversation and relationship business. So I'm going to create a conversation and a relationship. I re-click on Kenneth's name, reopen his profile, and I hit send a message. And I paste in my message. Now, if there's one thing you're going to definitely hear from me if we ever work together or if you ever study the things that I teach or that I've written over the years, you're going to figure out that I keep things very simple, but it's all about conversations and personalizing things, and you're going to hear me use the word principles quite often. So the message that you're seeing me send here, you might be reading this message and saying, Kevin, you've completely lost your mind, which would probably be accurate. But the thing I want you to focus on is the principle behind what I'm doing. I'm sending a message that's not a thinly veiled sales pitch. I'm sending a nice, light-hearted message with an open-ended question. This is Sales 101, which causes a conversation. Now, I am by no means suggesting that you should send your LinkedIn invitations a message comparing them to a box of crayons. But I can get away with that because I use a lot of humor. I'm on television, I'm on radio, I'm on stages all around the world. I'm kind of, a public personality to some degree. I'm certainly not, world famous, and that's not my goal anyway. But I might have a little bit of a different type of leash or a little bit more leeway than you do. The principle is that I'm sending a message and opening a conversation and not a sales pitch. So here's my message that I'm going to send to Kenneth. Hi, Kenneth. Thanks for connecting with me here on LinkedIn. You're cooler than a 64-color box of crayons, the one with the built-in sharpener. What's on your mind? To your clarity and massive success. Kev, P.S. This isn't an autoresponder. And then I always add a PPS. Looks like we're both into weight training. Not. Right? So I take this message and I send it. Now, Kenneth is either going to respond to that or he's not. I'm not going to lose sleep either way, but I'm just sharing with you. I'm opening up a potential conversation. Now, LinkedIn sometimes gets a little wonky. So normally underneath his picture, there should be a button here called relationship. Sometimes I have to refresh the screen for the relationship button to come up. And sometimes, for whatever reason, the relationship button doesn't come up for maybe an hour or two. So I don't see it here. So I'm going to show you what I'm about to show you a different way. Normally, there would be a relationship button underneath that picture. So I'm going to go to Sheldon, who's another LinkedIn connection of mine, just to show you what the relationship button looks like. Now, this is a relatively new feature that LinkedIn turned on in the last year or two. So there's now a note. Well, first off, you can see every communication that's gone back and forth between you and the individual whose LinkedIn profile you're looking at. So if I click on See More, it will literally open up all of the conversation threads between Sheldon and myself. But LinkedIn now has a note-taking feature. So if I say, hey, I met this guy at a conference, blah, 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 nobody will ever see that message except for me, and Sheldon doesn't even know that I'm taking notes on his profile. So LinkedIn's literally becoming a CRM. I actually made a prediction 12 years ago when I got on LinkedIn, and I said if they build this site correctly, in my opinion, this will turn into the biggest CRM or client or customer relationship management tool on earth. And that's actually happened because currently LinkedIn has over 420 million users, 2 to 5 new users, And every single one of these people has effectively their entire resume and everything else, including weight training, on their LinkedIn profile. It's a CRM. So you can take notes on all of your LinkedIn connections profiles. You can even take notes on people who are not your LinkedIn connections. You can set reminders. So if I want LinkedIn to remind me in a week or in a month, or let's say every 17 days, whatever, LinkedIn will remind me, and then I can type in here what I want LinkedIn to remind me of. And then there's the tagging feature, which is really one of my favorite features. What you see here, these are all speaking engagements that I've delivered around the world since LinkedIn turned on this tagging feature a year or two ago. The reason I use this is because I'm not going to remember where I met this guy. So here you can see I've already tagged him. Cambridge is a large financial services company that's a client of mine. I spoke for them on 6/12/14 in Kansas City, Missouri. Well, apparently he was in that audience, because after I accepted his LinkedIn invitation, I hit tag, and the first person I tagged, I created the tag, and then all I did was I just put him into any combination of multiple tags. So you have the ability to tag people so that you can always go back to up here where it says connections, and I can say, who were the people that I met at that Cambridge event in Kansas City back in 2014? So now I have the ability to filter my connections by tag. So if I went down to the Cambridge event in Kansas City, it would pull up all the people. Apparently there's only 2 there. That's a very small one. But so it would pull up all of the people. So I can click on any one of these different presentations that I've delivered around the world, and I can pull up whoever it is I want to pull up at those presentations. So the tagging feature is very handy. Let me just do it one more quick time. I'm going to go up here, put my cursor over this, see what's sitting in my inbox, give it a second. I'm going to click pending invitations. I'm going to guess that possibly this gentleman is on the call right now. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, I don't know. I'm going to click on Eldon Edwards to make sure he's not an ex-spouse or a stalker or an axe murderer. He looks like he's a business consultant in Santa Barbara. He's got information here on him. He looks like the real deal to me. Does not look like somebody in Nigeria. No offense to the Nigerians listening to this call. So I'm going to hit accept invitation. Eldon and I are now going to become first-degree connections. I'm going to click on his name. I'm going to send him a message. Whoops. And then I'm going to paste in the message, change the first name to Eldon because he probably doesn't want to be called Bob. And then I'm also going to look at his LinkedIn profile for something personal that maybe we have in common that I can build a conversation around. So let's see if he has anything in here. Let's see what we have. Bowling Green, State University, Toastmasters, Magna Cum Laude. That's about as far from me as you could possibly be. I see all this information, and I'm just going to say, you know what? This guy looks like he knows a lot about LinkedIn based on the 2% LinkedIn thing. So I'm going to just type in here a PPS. Maybe we can compare LinkedIn ninja tips sometime, right? Maybe he'll get a kick out of that. So there we go. And I send him the message. And he's either going to respond or he's not. Okay, so you guys, and if I wanted to, I could tag him if LinkedIn's tagging feature was working right now under his picture. But for whatever reason, it doesn't appear to be working right now, but it'll work later. So that's how I accept LinkedIn invitations every morning. The goal for me is to open up a conversation. That's all I want to do. I just want to open the conversation. Let me explain. Let me just take 60 seconds on why I'm making such a big deal out of that. I'm a very, very simple thinker. Now, God gave me a simple mind. And I used to think years ago that my simple brain was kind of a liability. And I actually maybe had, I don't think I had a low self-image, but I just never really considered myself the brightest, candle on the cake. I still don't. And I've come to realize over the years, though, that actually that simple brain, that simple mind, is actually a huge asset and not a liability at all. Because most people overcomplicate things. And in my life, I'm at a point in my life where really I'm all about subtraction. Now, this might sound a little woo-woo for 30 seconds, but most people are into addition and they're trying to add more and more on. I'm actually in subtraction mode and have been for years at this point, where I'm reducing certain things in my life more and more and just focusing on certain core fundamentals and principles. So that could be a conversation for another day if you ever want to have that conversation with me. But I keep things extremely simple. So what I discovered years ago, and again, you're going to think this is like just ridiculously simple when I say this. What I started to notice was that I never brought on a client, I never got a referral, I never went on a date, I never got a job, I never did any of those things without a conversation taking place first. Now, you might be sitting there thinking to yourself, this guy's lost it. You know, of course, Kev, of course, but if you look around at the business world and even at the personal world, a lot of people haven't grasped this concept. What most people are doing in business is they're trying to throw a lot of mud on the wall and hope something sticks. And a lot of people call that marketing and other things. And what I'm doing is I'm actually doing 180 degrees the opposite. What I'm doing is I'm slowing down, and the irony is actually by slowing down, you speed up, okay? I'm slowing down to actually speed up, okay? So when I slow down and I really connect with people and I really start to create a conversation, the likelihood of us ever transpiring business or doing business in some way, whatever way that shows up, client, referral source, networking partner, spouse, whatever that is, the likelihood of us actually coming to some kind of a relationship is about 1,000,000 times higher if we start with a conversation than if we start with a sales pitch or a thinly veiled sales pitch. Again, if you want to go deeper into this with me sometime, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll go deeper with you. But I'm just in the conversation creation business. That's all I'm doing. So that's why I do that. I create the conversation, okay? Now, I want to go to another feature that a lot of people really don't know what to do with, but it's a very, very handy feature. And it's the alumni feature. If I go to my homepage and I put my cursor over my network and I scroll down to find alumni, LinkedIn being the database that it is, it automatically looks at my LinkedIn profile to see what college or colleges I've attended. And I went to Montclair State University back when the earth was cooling. So LinkedIn immediately goes out and sees that there are 67,874 people on LinkedIn who have Montclair State University in their LinkedIn profile. So if you've gone to college and you clicked on that alumni feature, you would see the number related to the college you went to. Well, watch how I can leverage this information. LinkedIn shows me where all of these 67,000 people live. So if I wanted to find the people that went to Montclair in San Francisco, I'd click on this and just the 408 people would come up. It also shows me where they currently work. I have a financial advisor client in St. Louis, Missouri, who does a tremendous amount of work with AT&T employees. So when I showed him this feature and I said, you can find all of the AT&T employees in your area who went to your college, and I can show you ways to open conversations that are not slick or salesy, he just about fell out of his chair. Because LinkedIn is showing you, based on where these people live, where they currently work, the type of work they currently do. I have a lot of clients that have niches in certain industries. I have a lot of clients who do business with IT professionals. Well, there they are. I can also go farther and see what they studied in school, what they're skilled at, and ultimately how I'm connected to them. Well, let's go back. You've heard me say, and you'll continue to hear me say this until the day I die, that it's all about conversations. Well, if you've been around the block for a while, kind of like I have, and you have a little gray in your hair, kind of like I have, You may have noticed that the easiest way in the world to start a conversation with another human being is to find something that you have in common with them. So watch what I do. I'm going to put in the years that I attended Montclair. I only went there for 1 year. It was the third of 3 colleges I went to. So I only went there from 1989 to 1990, just 1 year. And once I put that in there, can you see how it resorts the people to 2,841 people from 67,000 or whatever that number was earlier? So now it's just resorted the number, and it's still giving me all the data. And if I wanted to find the people in the Denver area, and I click on the 9, it's literally going to pull up the 9. The 9 people that went to the same college I did at the same time that I did. Well, how easy would it be for me to click on Thomas McDonald and to send him a message? Hey, Tom, my name's Kevin Knebl. You don't know me from Adam, but I was cruising around LinkedIn. I came across your profile, and I noticed we have a couple things in common. We both went to Montclair State University in New Jersey. We both went there from 89 to 90. I do not know how we did not cross paths at a keg party. And we both live in the greater Denver area. I'm all about paying it forward, and I'd love to prove it to you. Perhaps I can open some doors or make some introductions on your behalf here on LinkedIn. I'm connected to many people. How would I know if someone I'm connected to could potentially be a good referral or client for you, to your massive success, Kev? Now, if I were to send that message to Thomas, I'm going to say something right now that's going to sound a little bit strong, but I'm not trying to be mean. I'm basically considering that message that I just sent to Thomas as an IQ test. Because let me ask you, you listening to me right now on this webinar on a Monday evening in April, or you listening and watching this recording years from now on YouTube, let me ask you something. How many people in the last week have sent you a message that was as friendly as the one I just said, that says, hey, Cherie, I was cruising around, hey, Chris, hey, Bill, hey, whoever, Verena, Beth. I was cruising around LinkedIn and I noticed we have a couple things in common. Number one, we went to the same college at the same time. Number two, we both live in the general Denver or San Francisco or Ringo's, New Jersey area or whatever it is. I'm all about paying it forward, and I'd love to prove it to you. Perhaps I can make some introductions or open some doors for you to either individuals or organizations. How would I know if someone whom I am connected to might be a good referral or client for you? Now, in that rhetorical question I just asked you, I asked you how many people in the last week sent you a message like that. I didn't really mean to use the word week. I meant to use the words since the day you were born, because the answer is 0. Folks, I don't teach LinkedIn. When people, if I was doing a seminar on phone calling, I wouldn't be teaching you about the electronics inside the phone. I would be teaching you about effective phone skills, which are interpersonal and communication skills. So it doesn't matter really, it's going to sound crazy when I say this, but it really doesn't matter how much you know about LinkedIn if you don't know enough about conversation skills. Because let me say one of my kind of Kevinisms. People tell me I have Kevinisms or Kneblisms or whatever you want to call my lines. But this line that I'm about to say, this is really, in my opinion, I think this is one of the most important lines that I've ever come up with, because it really sums it up. Here it is. It doesn't matter how sophisticated the technology is. It always depends on the sophistication of the conversation skills of the communicator. Let me say it a different way. A communication tool, this is the real line, a communication tool is only as effective as the communication skills of the communicator. Now that might sound really obvious, but it's not, because people call me every day, and I mean every day. And they say, Kevin, I need more appointments, I need more meetings, I need more clients, I need more referrals, I need more money, I need more this, I need more that. Show me how to use LinkedIn, show me how to use Facebook, show me how to use Twitter, because they think that if they get on LinkedIn, the clouds are going to part and the money's going to fall out of heaven. But it's not. It never will. Just because you got the newest phone, the newest Android or the iPhone, did you notice when you got the new phone that all of a sudden your bank account went up? I didn't notice that in my bank account. I don't know about you. But people sit around and they look at LinkedIn like it's like some kind of magic money-making machine. It's not. LinkedIn is only as effective as your conversation skills. That's why if you ever see me on stage, you see me hold up in the beginning of my presentation, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Because if you focus on interpersonal, relational, and networking skills, and then you apply them to LinkedIn, or you apply them to Facebook, or to two cans in a string, or smoke signals, or whatever it is you're doing, you're going to have more success than if all you understand is how paper is made and how ink is made. Now that might sound really weird, but wrap your head around what I just said there. One question I often ask my audience is do you think that Hemingway was a typewriter expert? And people kind of look at me weird, like, where the hell is he going with this? I say, Hemingway didn't know how to fix a typewriter, but he sure knew how to write. Picasso did not know how to make canvas, but he sure could paint on it. And I might not know every single bell and whistle. I know a lot of them, but I might not know every single nook and cranny of LinkedIn. But boy, am I good at creating conversations. And so are you. It's always about the conversations. So let's get rid of the Denver, and let me show you another way I could do this. I've got 2,841 people on LinkedIn who apparently went to the same college I did at the same time I did. And then there's one more box right here. Well, there's a couple ways I could use this. I could say, okay, who do I typically do business with? And I do a lot of business with CEOs, finance advisors, insurance agents, entrepreneurs. So just for the sake of time, I'm going to type CEO in there. When I type CEO in there and I hit search, it's going to search these 2,841 people. Now, once I search that, I've got 105 CEOs who went to the same college I did at the same time I did. Well, let's find the ones in Denver. And maybe they're not in Denver. I don't know. Let's see. Los Angeles, Boston, San Francisco. The question is, where do I want to do more business? Well, let's go to Colorado Springs. If I went to Colorado Springs and clicked on one, it would show me the one. Let's do New York City. If I click on New York City, I've got 70 people in New York City or the New York City area who have CEO in their current job title that I went to college with at the same exact time. And you heard the wording that I used 5 minutes ago when I opened up a very simple, non-salesy conversation using my pay-it-forward mindset. I'll do it again in a moment just to refresh your memory. But if you ever want another copy of this, feel free to email me for my LinkedIn templates. But can you see how I'm finding the people that I could very easily open a conversation with because we have so many things in common? Let me do it a different way. Let's get rid of CEO. Let's get rid of New York. I've got 2,841 people again. What if I type in here the word skiing? I put skiing and I search. I've got 24 people that I went to college with at the same time. And it doesn't even matter if I went at the same time. I'm just doing this for the sake of example. That have the word skiing in their LinkedIn profile, including me. Why did it pull me up? Because I fit that search parameter, and LinkedIn's a database. So how easy would it be for me to look through these people, and I'm not stalking, I'm looking at exactly what it is they want me to see. I can look through their profiles, and I can find somebody like Trudy. Trudy, licensed professional counselor at Trudy Coalfish Counseling. I click on Trudy. I open up Trudy's LinkedIn profile. I'm seeing exactly what she wants me to see. That's why she put it in her LinkedIn profile. I see she has 71 connections, so she doesn't use LinkedIn a whole lot, but that doesn't matter to me. I see how long she's been doing what she does. I can see who we know in common. There's her Montclair, by the way. There's Montclair. I can see her birthday. She's virtually encouraging me, practically encouraging me to email her because there's her email address. I can see who we know in common, including Barry, who unfortunately I knew Barry. Barry died last year. That's a bummer to bring that up in the webinar, but he did die last year. Okay. But I can see here that she went to Montclair, and I can see there's the skiing. There's how I found her. So how simple would it be for me, and I also like photography, and I also have kind of a black belt in travel. How easy would it be for me to shoot her a message that says something like, "Hi, Trudy. I was cruising around LinkedIn." Oh, let me start over. "Hi, Trudy. My name is Kevin Knebl. You don't know me from Adam, but I was cruising around LinkedIn, and I came across your profile, and I'm all about paying it forward, so I'm extending my hand in friendship. I noticed a couple of interesting things. We both went to Montclair State University in New Jersey back in '89 and '90. What a small world. I also noticed that we both live in the Colorado Springs area, and we both love to ski and travel. Boy, small world. I'm all about paying it forward. Perhaps I could open some doors or make some introductions on your behalf with some individuals or organizations in the Colorado Springs area that would help you in growing your counseling practice. How would I know if someone I'm connected to might be a good referral or potential client for you, to your massive success, Kev?" Again, I'll say it nicely. Folks, this is an IQ test. If she doesn't respond to that, I've got to assume there's one of two reasons why any fully functioning, rational human being would not respond to that. Number one, she never got the message. It just got buried in her inbox and she never saw it. Or number two, maybe her parents just never taught her manners. Because when somebody very nicely extends their hand and says, "Hey, I went to the same college," and then continues to say, "Maybe I can send some business your way," and never asks for one single thing in return, and you don't respond to that, I'm not going to say that you're rude, but I'm definitely not going to say that you've got, a real good grasp of etiquette. Is this making sense, folks? Please feel free to type in the chat box on GoToMeeting, just so I can see a little feedback, because I like feedback, okay? So what I do, somebody asked me what's the protocol for Q&A on this webinar. Please feel free to type whatever you want in the chat box. That's the protocol, but understand that I'm juggling multiple screens. If I don't answer your question immediately, you can ask it again at the end, and I'll be happy to address it, okay? So I'm hoping that this makes sense, okay? Because it's very, very simple. And let me kind of share one of the reasons why I teach this. Because when I first got into sales back in 1992, way back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, I was a piano player. I didn't come from a sales background. I was a guy who the last thing in the world I ever imagined that I would be doing would be in sales, let alone business. I'm standing in my home office right now with my headset on, talking to you, recording this webinar. And here in my home office, I'm looking at my piano. I'm a piano guy. I have a piano in my home office. I'm still a piano guy all these years later. This afternoon, I was sitting playing my piano for about a half hour between conference calls because I'm a piano player. When I first got into business, I was scared out of my mind because I thought that all salespeople were slick and salesy and used car salesmen and all the cliches, and I was afraid that that's how I was going to have to become. But then I had some good mentors that taught me, Kevin, once you get past your product knowledge, once you get past your knowledge of your industry, your long-term success is going to come down to your ability to create, nurture, and deepen relationships. So I started studying that. I started reading and studying things like How to Win Friends people, and emotional intelligence and people skills and soft skills and all that kind of stuff, because I realized that that was going to help me. And here's the kicker. I've always been deeply interested in people. And I'm going to guess that most of you listening to me right now are exactly the same way. I have had so many people come to me over the years that I've either worked with privately or have heard me in audiences who have said to me, Kevin, your approaches are exactly what I've been looking for the last 10, 20, 30, 50 years. Why didn't somebody teach this to me 25, 40 years ago? And I say, I can't answer that. I don't know. And then what they go on to say to me is, Kevin, I didn't get in business to do what I do for a living because I wanted to get into sales or marketing. I got into business because I have an interest in my profession and I want to help people. And then listen to what they usually say to me next. They say, Kev, if I could just have conversations with people every day and seek to help them, and I could somehow make that turn into revenue, boy, oh boy, would that be a wonderful way to live. And I say to them, you do realize that that's exactly what I'm showing you? And they say, yeah, I do. I just wish somebody had shown me this years ago. So I'm not some enlightened Buddha. I haven't, solved the mysteries of the universe. I have a simple brain. And I figured out a long time ago that if I can find the people that I want to do business with, and by the way, using LinkedIn's advanced search features, I can find them down to eye color. So can you. Go back and watch some of my pre-recorded webinars on how to do that. If I can find the people that I want to do business with, instead of throwing mud on the wall, if I can turn that 180 degrees different, and actually, I don't throw any mud on the wall. I find the people that I want to do business with, and then all I do, and I am very aware of how ridiculously simple this sounds, but my God, it works. Once I find the people that I want to do business with or create a relationship with or whatever it is I want to do, all I do is I just create a conversation. But notice how I'm not creating a sales pitch. Now, this isn't manipulation. This isn't some backdoor ninja move or bait and switch. I don't do sales pitches. I do conversations and relationships. But my experience has been that when I create a conversation with somebody that I'd like to do business with, and I seek to pay it forward first and seek to help them to some degree, and I'm not by any means suggesting that I'm a doormat or giving away the store, but if I seek to help up front, most people will notice that and go, well, that's a little different. And they'll start to engage. And once they see that I'm kind of good at what I do that could help them in some way, usually they start asking me questions like, tell me a little bit more about what it looks like to work with you. Or how does somebody, if somebody was interested, notice it's in third person, right? If somebody was interested in working with you, Kevin, how would they kind of do that? Well, let me tell you, Trudy, how somebody might do that, right? So I have fun with people too. So is this making sense? Somebody type in the chat box and let me know this makes sense, okay? There's a lot of questions that you guys are asking me. I can't get to all these. So hang on, okay? Yes, this is making sense. Okay, so thank you. So you're confirming that this is making sense to you. So the LinkedIn alumni feature, I think it's a gold mine because no matter where you went to school, doesn't matter. LinkedIn's a database. It's going to find the people, and then you can slice and dice this database any way you want to do it. Now, I'm going to show you one more thing real quick because we're limited on time, and I want to try and keep a little bit of time at the end to answer some of the questions that are in the chat box. So I'm completely changing gears, and I'm going in a totally different direction now. The feature that I'm going to show you next is now a premium feature. It used to be a free feature, but LinkedIn's constantly changing what's free and what's premium. So you're going to need a $50 a month LinkedIn premium account to access this feature. For many years, I did not encourage people to get premium accounts, but I've really changed my thinking on that because LinkedIn's actually kind of making it hard to not get some of the real juicy features without going to premium. because now they're a publicly traded company and they're trying to hit numbers on Wall Street and all that. So when I go to my LinkedIn homepage here, and I go to the top, people that have viewed my profile, when I click on this, LinkedIn gives me some very, very interesting information here. So it's showing me in the last 90 days, 1,326 people have looked at my LinkedIn profile. And when I put my cursor over this, look at the numbers on the right when I put my cursor over this on the left. So it's giving me week to week, there we go. It's giving me week to week exactly, look at the numbers on the right, it's showing me exactly, and I can break it down by week. So if I want to look at the week of February 7th to the 13th, all the way back here, here's the people that were looking at my LinkedIn profile that week, okay? If I want to get off of that, let me just refresh the screen. And I just want to see, how many people have looked at my profile in the last 90 days. Here they are, and I can see a running total over on the right-hand side. So I can see all this information. They probably don't even realize that I can see this because I have my settings set to anonymous and invisible. I could look at your LinkedIn profile all day long, and I'm not trying to be a weird stalker, but I can look at your LinkedIn profile, you listening to me right now. I can look at your LinkedIn profile all day, and you'll never know because I've set up my settings to be hidden, okay? So I can see all this. I can break it down by company. So if I want to see how many people at Gartner, one of my large Fortune 500 clients, 33 people at Gartner in the last 90 days have looked at my LinkedIn profile. And if I could see all the companies where people, 666, yeah, that's a creepy number. But if I go over here to Gartner and I click on Gartner, I can see all the Gartner people. Here's somebody who looked at my profile yesterday, 6 days ago, 1 week ago. It's just going back in time, okay? And it's just going back and back and back. If I want to break it down by location, well, who are the 63 people in the Colorado Springs area looking at my LinkedIn profile? Well, let's find out. So here's people in Colorado Springs looking at my LinkedIn profile. They probably have no idea that I even have the ability to see this. And I'll show you in a moment what I do with this information, okay? I can do it by job title. So I could say, I want to see people that have business owner in their job title. Well, there's 114 of them in the last 90 days, and there they are. Maybe I want to do it by industry that they're affiliated with. I do a lot of work in financial services. I click on financial services. Here's somebody, Nikki, who looked at my profile today. Steve looked at it today. Laura looked at it today. Caleb looked at it today. Let's use Laura as an example. If you were at a networking meeting and you noticed that somebody was staring at you across the room, I don't know what you would do, but I know what I would do. I would walk across the room, stick out my hand, and say, hey, I couldn't help but notice that you were staring at me. Do I have food in my teeth or maybe a booger in my nose? And the person would laugh, and we would start a conversation. I don't know if I mentioned the whole conversation thing. It's kind of a big deal. So I don't know this Laura person, but I can see she's a second-degree connection. How easy would it be for me to open Laura's profile, see who she is, see who we know in common. She may or may not even have her email address in her LinkedIn profile, but I could very easily send her a message that would say something like, remember how I said I have templates? Don't you think I have a you viewed my LinkedIn profile template? Hi, Bob. I noticed that you recently viewed my LinkedIn profile. Before you think that I'm stalking you, let me humbly remind you that you were the one looking at my LinkedIn profile. I'm honored. I'm all about paying it forward and adding huge value, and I'd love for you to ask me to prove it. How may I help or serve you in some way to your clarity and massive success? Kev, P.S. This isn't some form of an autoresponder. I just personally sent you this email about 5 seconds ago. Folks, on a scale of 0 to 100, what percentage of people do you think respond to this? I'll save you time. Over 90%. What are they going to do? Deny it? They're busted. Now, I say busted in a joking way. They're not busted. But I can see, what are they going to do? Deny that they weren't looking at my LinkedIn profile? And think back, what is my only goal? My only goal is to create a conversation. Because if I can create a conversation, we don't have time to get into it today, but I've developed a system over the last 20 years that I call my high-touch relationship marketing system. There is absolutely nothing, and I mean nothing, in caps, underlined black Sharpie, nothing that I have ever taught, including and Twitter and Facebook and all this other stuff. There is absolutely nothing that I've ever taught that has put more money into my pocket and my clients' pockets than my high-tech, high-touch relationship marketing system. Absolutely nothing. It is the simplest 15-minute-a-day system to stay top of mind with a very strategic group of people that you identify without ever being slick, salesy, awkward, or creepy. That system has enabled me, ever since I started this business 7 years ago, it has enabled me to have a 99% by invitation and referral only business. And I help my clients accomplish similar results. Wouldn't you love to have a business where you're not trying to go beat down clients or find speaking engagements or find referrals or find jobs or whatever it is you're looking for? Wouldn't it be easier if people were coming to you? That's exactly what I teach, and that's what I've been teaching for years, and man, oh man, does it work. So all I want to do, though, is start a conversation with people, because if I can start a conversation with somebody, I can then put them into my high-tech, high-touch system, and I can nurture that conversation and that relationship, waiting for or accelerating the triggering event when we talk about business, but I never rush it. It's just like dating. If you're listening to me now and you're married, or if you ever had a serious relationship, how did you know the right time to kiss the other person the first time? It wasn't like you were looking at a flow chart. It's not like all of a sudden, there was somebody, like a third base coach telling you to bring it in, okay? You just knew. You knew that the timing was right. And the problem for most people in business and sales is they're trying to rush. And if you don't think that the other person, sometimes referred to as a prospect or whatever, you don't think that they feel that rushing, you're mistaken. They feel it. So when you create relationships with people, there is no pressure. There is no rushing. There is no awkwardness, because you're paying it forward and you're sincere, you're heart-centered, and your approach is completely different than what almost everybody else out there is doing. So I'm throwing a lot at you. I'm kind of touching on different things very lightly that we don't have time to explore right now in more depth. I apologize for that, but it's just a function of time constraints. If there's anything that I've said, though, that's triggered some thoughts or triggered some insights or some questions, I'm a phone call or an email away. I'm happy to help you. It's not hard. I can certainly help you. If you have any questions on this, by now I've referenced my pay it forward mindset about 10 times. So you know that it's all about paying it forward. So we've covered a bunch here today. We've covered accepting LinkedIn invitations. We've covered the alumni feature. We've covered the who's viewed your LinkedIn profile feature to some degree. I want to take the next couple of moments, and I just want to show you a couple of things that you could do if you want to go deeper into this. And then in a few moments, I'm going to stop the recording, and then I'm going to make a very special offer that I don't want to be on the recording. So for those of you watching the recording down the road, sorry, call me or email me, ask me about the special thing. So what I would suggest is if you ever go to my website, which is kevinknebl.com, at kevinknebl.com, if you're not already subscribed to my newsletter, please feel free to subscribe to my newsletter, which is going to contain the links to the free monthly webinars and all of that. So subscribe to my newsletter. It'll give you 30 minutes of free LinkedIn Ninja tips. Please feel free to peruse through my newsletter archive, which is full of tons and tons of content that will help you in your business. So that's like a library. But also on my products and coaching page, I have a 4-hour LinkedIn and Twitter training course. It's streaming video, so you can watch it over and over until the end of time. I redo the videos every year, if not every 6 months, to reflect the newest features and functions. So when you invest in this, you have access to this for the rest of your life. It's on streaming video, so you can watch it anywhere you want, as long as there's an internet connection, forever. Okay? This is the same training that I deliver on stages for, to be frank, for $20,000. But on my website, it's $197. In a moment, I'm going to show you how to make it even less than that. But for less than $200, you have an evergreen 4-hour course for the rest of your life that's always being updated. And then last year, I actually created a new course that I'm in the process of even updating the videos as we speak. I created a 17-hour social selling mastery training course. Folks, it's 17 hours. There's nothing else on earth, to the best of my knowledge, that exists that goes into this level of depth like mine does. I initially intended to make this 9 hours. It ended up being 17 hours. I'm re-recording the videos now. It's probably going to end up closer to 20, okay? I spend about an hour on social selling and relationship marketing in general, just getting at the framework set. I do 9 hours on ways to use LinkedIn, and it's all broken down by chapters. I do 4 hours on how to most effectively use Twitter, and be assured, Twitter is a gold mine for business. Then I spend 3 hours teaching that high-tech, high-touch relationship marketing system that I referenced about 10 minutes ago. There's nothing I've ever taught that is more profitable than this system right here. This is the holy grail. So this program is $997, which is a steal. Okay, I'm just telling it like it is. It's streaming video just like the 4-hour course, but now I'm going to sweeten the deal. If you ever go to kevinknebl.com/special offer, don't tell anybody about this, okay? But this is a special hidden web page on my website that takes the $197 4-hour program, takes $50 off down to $147. And it takes the $997 course down to $400. It breaks it 50% off. When you process the credit card, the system will immediately email you your login and password, so check your spam folder, because sometimes it ends up in the spam folder. But you will have immediate access to that for the rest of your life. And again, I update the videos all the time, so you have the newest features and functionalities on that. I'm going to stop the recording in about 10 seconds. Please don't jump off the call yet, because once I stop the recording, I'm going to make one final special offer, okay? I hope for those of you watching this in the future people, I wonder if it's like the Jetsons in the future. I hope this has been helpful. Please feel free to send me a LinkedIn invitation. I'm a phone call or an email away. If I can ever help you in any way, I'm more than happy to help you. And please feel free to join my 24/7, 365 cocktail party on Facebook. Please feel free to sign up for my newsletter. And again, I'm just extending my hand in friendship and paying it forward to you. So people in the future, we will see you later. I am turning off the recording button now.